So while we're waiting for Doc to get back and return, last clip I talked about how to find certainty in chaos and uncertain times, right? And I had a conversation with one of my mentors day after that shoot, and we were talking about how right now he's a very prominent businessman. We were talking to him right now about the times, obviously AI, job layoffs, like mentioned in the last clip about college students having the highest unemployment rate coming out of college ever in the past 2 or 3 years. Once AI, ChatGPT became more mainstream, you saw a decline in hiring from college students with uh, great career degrees, computer science degrees, having the prerequisites necessary for the base. To get into a job, but not necessarily because again, like any college graduate over the past, 50 years or so, not having the latent experience, right, necessary. But now because of technology, AI being able to quickly pick up on the knowledge within the Internet of Things ether, if you will, right? It's now also hindering the younger person's ability coming fresh out of school who doesn't have the 5 year, 10-year experience or didn't do an internship that gave them a certain level of experience, right? They're getting pushed back, right? So all these things that are happening, we were talking and he said something that was unique to me because we're entrepreneurs. He's been an entrepreneur for 40 years plus. I'm, half of that coming up on him. But we've always been focused and counting on ourselves to be able to bring about the careers, the business, the connections. Not to say a man is an island amongst himself, but we believe within ourselves we get paid what we're worth, the value we bring to the marketplace, and we're willing to bring, 10 times more value. And then we believe that people and entities, businesses will see that, right? So we're used to doing that in our entrepreneurial spirit, in our hustle, in our ability not to be led per se, even though he has a mentor, he's my mentor, but we don't do the traditional being led by society to say we have to do things a certain way in order to achieve the outcome we want, right? So what he said was right now it's exposing humanity, especially modern society, because the time is exposing people based off of how you see how they react fearfully to this new change. Because and he said it, and let me try to break it down to you guys how he said it, and I hope it makes sense because it made complete sense to me. But I want to make sure I don't butcher the thought because I want to bring it to you guys. He said people are afraid now because now, for the first time ever, they have to now rely on their own ability and not what society says, but is the right way to do something, and you get rewarded that way, right? So, not being an employee anymore is not the focus. Being an entrepreneur is the thing that you have to focus on. And most people, 9 out of 10 people, are afraid and don't know how to follow their own path because it wasn't laid out for them. And as an entrepreneur, it's not laid out for you. You literally have to create it as you go through it, right? Trying to figure out what it is you want to do, whatever niche you're in, whatever career path you want to go down, you have to figure it out when you are trying to build something that's your vision. So now society, from what he was saying, is being exposed right now because a lot of people are used to saying, well, if I get the 4 year degree, I get the computer science degree, I get the accounting degree, I get the law degree, I get into this firm, I get into this position, I make X amount of dollars, I save X amount of dollars, I invest X amount of dollars, I'm good, right? As an entrepreneur, we don't do it that way, right? So it's like, look, I know I have an idea. I go do a business plan, but then I have to go pitch it to everybody and their mama and figure out if they're going to accept it, right? But I go off of my drive. I go off my vision. I wake up earlier than anybody. I go out and I try to hustle more than anybody. I try to make sure any failure that happens, which a lot does, I quickly see that as a learning experience and bounce right back. I learn quicker than most because I recognize each seeming failure is a learning lesson that I have to respond to in a positive. Otherwise, I don't get to the next potential yes, right? Most people don't have to do that. Most people don't do that because they're not taught that way. So currently, right now, people are getting exposed, and you might be one of them that's getting exposed, that you are fearful because you have not learned the inner technology I talked about last time, that you have to lean on that. You learn to lean on society and a system that has always been chaotic and always been predicated upon what its desires and goals are to meet its ultimate North Star. And now that that's being shaken up because their system is saying, we don't need you. We think we can use technology more than using you, and technology is more efficient than you are. Now you're being left out to say, well, what do? I have my degree. I have the extra certifications, but you're not hiring me anymore. Now, what do I do? Right? The fear, the unknown, which I talked about last time. So if that's the case, we're at a point right now, and I agree with him. You have to learn now how to create your own system. You have to learn now to trust yourself, as well as go and deliver your skill set and be willing to learn new skill sets, put the skill sets out there while you're trying to learn them, and create your own brand. The funny thing is, when he said that, I said, it's funny because technology has been trying to also show us and help us realize we need to create our own lanes, our own brand, our own businesses, become the CEO of your own company, right? Be your own company. We look at the past decade now of social media's real emergence and now penetration of society. And it's funny because it's created an ability for you to give yourself a platform to start to discussing and delivering one's own unique talents. But what most of us have done, especially if you're above the age of 30 or 35, especially, we've denigrated, we've put it down, we've talked about it. We said these young people, they don't know how you gonna make money from social media. How, you just want to show yourself, you just want to talk, you just want to be out there. Everybody has a voice now, which is true to a degree. But the other side of it is true as well, because these young people are making careers from it. People are making incomes from it, and substantial incomes to take care of their life, to travel the world, to be, to live lives that are different than what we've known for the past 50 plus years, right? So social media came about to warn us also to, if we were smart, to show us there's a way for you to be prepared for this new time of, if Chat GPT, if Gemini, if all these AI platforms can pick up information and deliver and disseminate, even right or wrong, we know it has its latency period of, giving misinformation. We know that, but it's learning. It's in its learning phase. But if it can deliver the information 20, 30 times faster than what we can even process it, if we understand business, big businesses using this and trying to figure out, I talked about, they still don't know either, but they're trying to figure out, if I can pay a fraction of a cost for a computer to give me more information and figure out how to deliver it in a systematic way so my profits can stay high. Whereas if I have to pay this human time off, sick leave, maternity leave, they may be inconsistent. They have a latency period themselves of deliverable because they're sick or they just don't know and they got to get more information themselves. So I got to pay them, and I can pay a fraction of cost to a piece of technology. It seems to me that we need to understand that we're at a place right now where we need to invest in ourselves, and we need to become the technology piece, that we are the commodity. We are the business. We have the ability to learn fast and leverage. That's why they call it AI assistance, right? So we have to learn quickly, leverage the tool to help us become sharper and quicker, right? And we have to do it now. If we leverage the tool in a way where, like, we see a lot of the young people or people who are older who have latched onto it and created brands, created lanes, created influence, have followers, also leverage it to build products, have marketing ads attached to it. That means that they see, okay, I now am what is necessary in order for the Apples to put their ad to the Ford technology or the electric cars, the flying cars that are coming, now the drones that are coming, the ads that come to my brand I have a way of making passive income from these YouTube, Twitch, whatever it might be, TikTok, whatever it is they're leveraging and using. So they're being smart. They're creating a brand, and they're building themselves to be the entity that these companies need to come to. What I'm saying is, if you're fearful right now, if you're afraid or you're wondering and you're searching, which is fine, it's okay, but let's stop the chaotic search and start recognizing what's right in front of you. It's kind of like when you fall in love, right, with your lifelong friend or someone that you've known for a relatively long time. Like, this whole time you're right in front of me and I didn't see it, right? It's the same thing right now with business and with careers and with earning income and with being accountable to yourself. Yes, it's scary right now because there's no system any longer that's saying we need you. And if you follow this trajectory, you do A, B, C, and D, you get, E and F, right? We're losing that now in a sense, because it's being recreated in a different way. What I'm asking for you to do, like my mentor was talking about, is don't be exposed right now. Be exposed well enough to be aware that you might be in that fearful state, but then recognize your inner technology, which I talked about the last clip. If you didn't go see it, go see it. Where I talked about, finding stability in chaos. Use your inner technology to structure yourself and then use the current technology smart. It's no point being afraid of what is coming and what is here. It's been here. But now, instead of sitting, that's why I say the conversations you're having have to shift. If you're having conversations about how stupid this is, how much time is wasted on social media, create something with it, leverage it, use it. Because most of you are posting on it or most of you are watching it, one of the two. But most of you are not using it where you have your own brand and then developing your own brand and going through the ebb and flow of the failure of figuring out your voice, figuring out what you want to say, how you want to promote yourself, how you want to position yourself, what lane you want to go. These things have to be done if you're going to build something, but you're not focusing on that. You're focusing on the negative of it because you're having these stupid conversations at dinner with your friends who are just like you, 44, 3 kids, one's in college, about to go to college, and they're employed or they're not, or they're living off their savings right now because a couple of properties that they invested, and you wanted to say, this is so stupid. I don't know how these kids make money, and it's all of this going to hell. Look at what the administration is doing. Again, the conversation is not going in a direction that it needs to go in, where you can now expand your thought. The thing I like about, I'm gonna kind of go off on a little tangent here, but the thing I'm always been intrigued with over the past 15 years or so, that I've recognized that Burning Man is out there, right? Different events that the Silicon Tech Valley, billionaires and creatives and startups, they go to these events, right? And yeah, we know they're taking drugs and all this other stuff. But the concept is brilliant to me, because what they do is they go to an unconventional situation. They do unconventional things to bring out unconventional thought, to pursue unconventional measures, to build unconventional things that we all end up using. We want to stay conventional. We want to stay boxed in mentally and emotionally, don't even recognize it. We want to stay not exploring new options because it doesn't look like, there's no trajectory, or you don't see the step-by-step process, but you're being shown there is something there. And you still want to, like I said, belittle or have these conversations or feel like you're above the fray. And obviously you can see you're not above the fray. You're right in the middle of the mix. You're in the averages. You're worried about your job if you haven't already lost it. You're worried about what's coming down the pike. You're looking at what the savings and investments are doing, but you haven't started anything to create your own brand. You haven't started anything to get new information that's going to help you be established as the expert or the perceived expert. So therefore, these companies, that they do decide, if your company or your position does decide to lay you off, or you need to pivot into something else because the industry is shifting, you're not prepared, right? So what I am calling for from you right now is, things are moving differently. But just like anything else, there's always seeds and fruits of something else to come support you if you're open for it, if you see it, if you're watching. I always talk to my daughter about this parable that I heard when I was younger, when I was, religious and I was in the church back when I was younger. And it talked about, the person's drowning in the water, right? And this weird looking raft comes by and, they say, you need help? And, you flop and you're like, no, 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 God's going to help me. God has something for me. He's going to come save me. You're good though. Thank you. And they go on. Then this other, better looking boat, but it still ain't the thing that you think is right. They ask if you need help. You say no. Third one comes by. You need, you're still out there flopping, right? You need help, but it's not the way you see it. It's not what it is that you think it's supposed to be. It's not, God there, grabbing you, pulling you out the water, right? Of course, what ends up happening? You end up drowning, right? You get up to heaven and you talking to God. You're like, God, man, you let me drown. What's good? I thought you had me. What does God say? He's like, I sent you 3 boats 3 different times to help you. They asked you, do you need help? You said no. That's on you. What I'm saying to you is, people, we need to quit looking at what's right in front of us to help us out. It may not look like, the thing that you want to do. It may not look like the thing you feel like you are prepared or ready to do, but it may just be the thing that's going to save your freaking life. It most likely is a thing that can help you position yourself. If we have seen anything, everybody is doing this in some capacity now. We keep looking at these young kids who are 16, 19, 20. They, they do streaming and, they're flying around the world. They have everybody and their mama on the channel with them, right? All the celebrities. Yeah, they're the outliers, but there's someone else sitting in their bedroom, at their house in their mom's room. I mean, in their parents' house, and they're still making very good income, taking care of their mama's mortgage. Actually has the house. They actually have the house paid off. We just don't know about them. And it's thousands of people doing this around the world, millions of people doing this around the world because things are shifting. To be your own brand, you think about, you're sitting here listening to me right now, right? Listening to me, talking to me. It's something you're feeling like you're getting from me that's supporting you, right? And then we create a community, we talk, and then we leverage each other, right? Then I create a product, or I say, let's come, have an event, and you meet other people. And then it can build on itself the right way if you think about it that way. And it's okay because, again, now you're relying on you. The scary part is, though, you have to keep showing up. You have to keep being consistent. And the funny thing is it shouldn't even be scary because you do that already for a job you don't even freaking really care for like that. But you're just like, look, I'm getting paid well. And this is what they said you're supposed to do. I get a chance to put on my suit and tie, or our ladies get a chance to put on a nice skirt, and then heels and stockings and go into work and feel like I'm a professional until you don't. How about you feel like a professional for yourself and create your own lane and allow for this time that we're in right now with the tools that we have around us that are showing you that there's lanes that you can create for yourself and to be your own brand. If all you have to do is set up a camera multiple times within a week, 3 or 4 or 5 times, edit, cut, put together pieces, get things out there, clear your voice, make sure it's sharp, make sure it makes sense, post it continuously, talk to people, communicate with people. The same thing you're doing at a job where you get a check, where you say reason why you like that is because when I leave the job, I leave it there and I go home, I can rest. Well, you can do the same thing with this if you set it up right. The reality, though, is, and the best part is, it can be continuous income until you stop the process. And it doesn't have to be a thing that's shooken up. And as it is right now with the current way in which we see employment and career sets, right? You have to understand, if you don't understand how this operates through social worlds, there's multiple ways you can make money through the social platform by you creating your brand. There's ways in which, if you're using, just for example, and there's other platforms, and platforms are coming, but if you do it on YouTube, you can create a YouTube account. You get enough followers, enough viewership, you get paid by YouTube. As you get enough viewership, then you get also paid ads that come on. So you get paid by YouTube and you get paid by ads. You have to accumulate certain views. You got to accumulate certain following and consistently. Yes, true enough. We got to there's a level to get to. You can do it. After that, and during that, you can create products. You know this. You're paying for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're paying. You do this in other forms. You can create a booklet. You can create a course, right? You can create. You can sell merch with logos and things that you say, or if you're artist, designs you created, and you can get it drop shipped to people now. It's so many ways to have multiple streams of income through social. Then you're creating a community. You're creating a leverage of people that you can, because I know you who I'm talking to, you know somebody else, you have a skill set, you have income, you are connected to someone else that might be able to say, hey, you see the guy I like, go follow him. He does this. You see how the community continues to grow and work, humanity continues to work together through these platforms if done right. So what I'm saying is quit having the conversation of negativity, quit overlooking what's right in front of you to help you out and start counting on yourself, believing in yourself, building yourself like a business, like you've been doing for everybody and everything else. The reason why I stopped my religion process years ago is because I saw, again, I'm getting off track. I'm getting the white noise. I'm focusing on the wrong thing. I'm not developing the real integrity of myself. I'm putting it off on a higher power. Now, we can get into the conversation. That's not what it's meant for Christianity or Muslim or whatever it might be. But the reality is the way society is teaching and the way we get as humans, we get so fearful and afraid of what we don't know that we leverage and we start to lean into these deities. And then we wonder why things are not happening the way it's supposed to. And then we end up saying it's in their time. Some of that has relevance. Most of it does not, because most of us are not doing the thing that we need to do in order to bring about the things that we want or we command life to, that we want to command, we want to command life to bring to us, that we need in order to live a quality life or expand ourselves in this life. So what I'm saying is we're afraid to take the responsibility. So it's easier to put off on a deity. And if you don't believe me, it's the same thing that's happening with work. It's the same thing that happens with our careers. Oh, they lay me off. How dare they? You know, I've been doing X, Y, Z so much for them. I do 9 hours, 10 hours. I go home. I don't do anything for myself. I go right back and repeat the process. Been doing that for 6 years, 7 years, and they lay me off. How dare they? They are the villain. They're wrong. Da, 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 da. Didn't take responsibility over that 7 years. You were making good income to also do something else on the outside of that to build yourself to have something to fall back on. Didn't take responsibility on the fact that even if you did get properties or even if you did do something else, you didn't do another thing that, again, because you're multi-talented, because you have unlimited capabilities, but you limit yourself because you say, well, I was giving so much to this. That's not what this is about. And any good religion, that any good follower of any religion, it's not about the limit of one's abilities. We're God-like for a reason, right? Because we have unlimited capabilities, but we limit ourselves because we get tired. Well, we get tired because you're not taking care of yourself. You get tired because you're not getting your exercise, and you get tired because you're not having good conversations. You're having gossip, negative. Someone has to be the villain. I want to talk about the villain and why they're not right. But while I'm giving that energy to that, I'm taking energy from myself. On top of the fact that, yes, if you have kids, which I have that 19-year-old daughter, then again, you got to grow a young person up, another life in this world. You got to deal with their emotions and their development. But again, if you're taking care of yourself, you recognize how to put that energy in its proper place. Because again, if I'm the adult, how in the world am I letting my child's frustrations, anger, or growth affect me? Because I've already been there. I know what that is. I know that's just growth and not knowing. But because I'm stressed out, but because I'm not living to my fullest capabilities, because I want to, again, indict, belittle, uh, fault the powers that be, I'm the power that be. And we feel like when we say that we're being anti-Christ like or da 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 da, and that's not true. When I say that, I'm taking full utter responsibility for all the great things, all the seemingly bad things, and all the things in between are on me. Because this is the thing, when I accept that responsibility as an entrepreneur, as a leader of my company, as a leader of myself, as a leader of my family, and leaders relative and all this stuff, it all basically boils down to me being the leader of myself. I can deal better with all that happens. There's a poem by Rudyard Kipling, and I talk about it all the time with me and Doc, but there's a line, I think, in the third paragraph of the poem where he talks about when you can meet triumph and disaster and treat both imposters the same. At the end of it, it says, "You arrived, my son, my daughter," whatever. When you can meet both of those two and treat them both the same, they say, how's the phrase go? Success is keeping the same energy no matter through triumphs or failures. You keep the same energy, especially when there's a seemingly failure. You keep that same energy. We have to understand. That's why my word of the year has been stoic. We have to keep a level of stoicism, but it's how you train yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you hear things and who you're having conversations with, and then how you go out and deliver on a daily basis, not every other day, not every other week, not every other, once a month. It can't be that. It needs to be daily. This is why we stress so importantly, Doc and I, the importance of a routine, importance of integrity, the importance of doing the mundane things, the importance of being consistent in the mundane task. Because, and even when I say mundane, phrasing that like Kobe did, right? He said it was the Mamba mentality. He made it fun and sexy. Only also too because he was a 6'7", 6'7" basketball player. Who could hoop. He made it look good in the gold and purple for the Lakers. But the purpose and the point was to say enjoy the process, how you frame it. Find joy in the muck, in the sweat, in the broken fingers, in the late nights. Find enjoyment in that. So when the championship opportunity comes and then you're able to culminate it with a win of the championship, you can enjoy it immensely, but then you can get right back to work because you understood I had already won my championship when I got up that morning when I had a broken finger. I played, a full game and the flight was delayed. We got in late and I only got 2.5 hours sleep. My daughter called me. I had to be on the phone with her and I still got to the practice court to shoot, 2,000 shots, still worked out, still came back to practice and still played the next game the next day. That's all analogous to what you have to do right now as as a person not in the sport limelight but in the sport of life right now. If your career is a little shaky, if you're out of work or you're in work, I keep going to this, that's what the reality is right now. If you're worried about what your position is with your job, quit worrying about that shit. Focus now on doing things, learning new skills, using chat gpt, using what the technology that is supposed to replace you. Use that, learn quicker, leverage it. It says AI assistant. If it can pull up the information faster, cool, give me all the information. Now, again, you got to be smart. We know the information it's pulling up is probably out of 10 things, 6 of it is correct. Maybe 5 of it is correct. That means you have to do research on the rest of it, but at least it's giving you something to catapult yourself off of as opposed to you not knowing, right? And if you're smart, then you leverage this, you use this, and you start building something outside of what you currently are doing. One of my mentors also said, learn to ask better questions. If you have been tracking and following how they're saying you have to prompt your chat, you have to prompt AI, right? It's about how you position the questioning and how you, uh, you know, ask it to learn for you and to give you the information that's out there. That's fantastic. You're learning how to program this new modern system to help you. But instead, you would be like, it's too much to learn. It's too much to get, right? And it's funny because let me give an example. Years ago, when I was trying to get my money together, I didn't want to do the itemizing and looking at where my money's going, where am I spending my money. I'm like, that's too much. But finally, I talked to an accountant and we sat down and we did it. It took about a week or so to do it, but we did it. And, I started to see, oh, okay, well, if I cut back here, I was spending money here. Okay, if I take this adds up to about, $90, a week. If I pull that out, I could put this into the Vanguard fund. I can create this with my portfolio. I could put this here, right? So I was like, oh, okay, this is how the wealthy does it. But it took me time to sit down, but I didn't want to sit down because honestly, I was afraid of seeing the stupidity that I was spending my money on, right? So fast forward, now that I got that all in place, money's, being invested properly. I'm not perfect with it still, but much better than what I was, right? Have, investments, different things like that. So now I'm talking to my daughter. We fast forward. And my daughter and I have had this conversation since she was little, but now she's in college, right? And so she works part-time and she does 17 hours, full course load, but she wants and she needs help with her apartment that she got, right? And so I told her, where's your money that you've been working? She's been working for the past 3 years. Where's your money going? What do you have saved? What do you put aside and what do you have invested? I said, let me see the spreadsheet, right? And the Excel sheet. She doesn't have one. So I said, okay, well, no worries. Take your time, get it to me, and then when you do, we can sit down, look at it together, and I can see how much I need to give you monthly, or if anything, if you're not doing your money right, I'm not going to give you the money that I'm already currently putting aside for you because I'm already investing it in funds for her. I already have the trust set up, I already have the will set up for her. So everything is set up for her, right? So I'm like, I'll just keep the money. And you have to figure out your process until you're showing me that you have a good structure. So I said to her, I gave her 30 days. 30 days go by, of course, right? College student. And she says to me, I don't have it yet. And I was like, well, when you get it to me, we can talk about it. And she's like, well, why can't you just, I know what it is. I'm like, yeah, you know what it is. I don't know what it is. And since I'm the bank in this sense that you're coming to, you need to do the work, right? Of itemizing and then walking me through so I can see where your money's going. Again, I'm treating you because it's not personal. You are my daughter, but money's not personal. Money's money. And what I need you to understand is if you create the system now at 19, 18, 19 years of age, that you understand exactly where things are going and you're also putting aside exactly a certain amount, it becomes easier as you get older, right? But if you fight me on not doing the little things, which she said, well, you got to give me time because I have 17 credits. I'm working part time. You got to put yourself in my shoes. I have to get, I have things I have to do. I'm like, okay, that's fine. If the if for you the importance is the work that you have to do and not the work that you're doing yourself to help you be able to do the work you want to do, then you're going to be just like a lot of us, which I didn't recognize till I was 40. I had to sit down, because I lost everything. Some of you recognize this quicker, but what I'm saying is we skip doing the system because we feel like we got so much we're doing over here. We skip doing the system that really is going to work and allow us to have the freedom we want in the long term. We skip doing it because we're afraid. We are a little ashamed, right? Because we're like, we should have it together, but we don't, right? Whatever age, 19, or in my case, 40, right? Or in some people's case, a little bit older, whatever. So we don't do the work of showing and itemizing and sitting down and going through and creating a structure of 10% is going to go to investments, 5% goes to savings or whatever it is until I can get to a position where it's inverted and I can put away 25% in investments and, 15% in savings, right? Or whatever it might be. We're afraid to have these conversations and do the work on those things because it exposes us to what I just said: shame, frustration, fear, sadness that we haven't done it yet, all this other stuff, right? But we have to get over that. We have to get over that. It's time for you to show up for yourself in your life. And the reason why I'm saying, because I had to do it years ago, but I realized if I didn't do it, I could not have this conversation now with my daughter and be ready for her and not take it where I'm mad at her about it. It's just, or, upset with her about it. It's just the reality. Now she got mad at me because she's like, just give me the money. You my dad. Her whole thing was, you're my dad. You're not a bank. I'm like, I understand that. But because I'm your dad, I'm teaching you how to fish. I'm not going to give you the fish. I got to teach you now how to fish. And while you're in a safe environment of college and part-time work and no kids, you need to learn it now, feel it now, all of it. The fact that you need the money or you want it severely, but I'm not just going to give it to you because when you get 25, 30, and, you know, world forbid, if I'm not here on this planet, yes, I do have the trust. I do have all that, but that's only being disseminated within portions, right? Because her grandparents have control over until, they are the custodial over and to disseminate it once I'm gone, right? If I leave prior to them, everybody, right? So there's a process to it, right, guys? So what I'm saying is, though, step out of your fear, leverage these tools that are here. It's no point in being afraid of what the reality is. It's about pivoting and putting yourself in the proper position and giving yourself the grace and the time to learn, but use it. It's right here. Like I said, I gave you an example. Use AI, ask it the right questions, leverage it because it can deliver information quicker. You take that information and build your brand, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, I don't care, Twitch, streaming, whatever it is. If it's OnlyFans, I don't care. Do you? Right? But I'm saying leverage it, and hopefully, if you're on OnlyFans, But anyway, that's a whole other conversation for another day. Uh, but leverage these tools. What I'm saying, because they came about because someone saw that things were changing. People wanted to be seen. People want to be known. People want to create their own brands. If you think about any brand and any celebrity, they all have their lane of just people that work rock with them. If you talk about, even though they're big names to some people, but some people necessarily don't know who Chris Brown is because they're not in that world. You can name a country artist to me that's huge amongst country artist fans. I would know a single person, but they have 20 million people following them. You can name Khloe Kardashian, and someone will be like, I don't know who that is, but Khloe has, couple 20 million people, 30 million people following, or whatever it is, right? What I'm saying is, if you look at this logically, it's just about creating your lane of people that you can rock with, your community, your friends, your people you can leverage to earn income from, but also you're giving them something back in return, obviously. And it doesn't have to be the 20 million or soon it's going to be, people got 1 billion followers, right? Because that's just what it is. We're growing, right, as a planet. But if you create your lane, imagine if you can get $1 off of 50,000 followers. You got $50,000 coming in a year off of that alone. Just $1. That's just $1, right? If you have a following of say 200,000 people, you got 50,000 that are giving you $1. What are we talking about, people? There's ways for you to make an earning and make a living. Quit fighting the system, the tools that are there, because the system that you're trying to support and wondering, scratching your head like, why is it? It has always been the system that doesn't care about you. So that's the funny thing about it. But you keep trying to fit yourself into the system, and then when the system kicks you in the butt, you like, what happened? Because it's time for you and time for us to stop trying to live a life based off of what everybody else and everything else is saying you are supposed to be and how it's supposed to be, and create you to the fullest. Develop your inner technology so you can now live the life you want to live. And that's the scary part too. What life do you want to live? You don't know. You've been following. Mama said this, daddy said this, society said this, my church said this, my mosque sister said this. Everybody's telling you what you're supposed to be. You don't know what you are. But yet the funny thing is, we support a Chris Brown or I use them because it is a name, right? But we support the celebrity, especially in the music art, Taylor Swift. We support them, and they are the outliers. They say the raunchy things in their songs, or they do the things and really tat it up and all this stuff, or dating, NFL player, Bob Mary. It's like they live the flashy life, and we're like, oh, they are so great. That's because we're projecting. We feel like they found themselves and their music is touching me. Well, how's their music touching you if they're saying things that are so off, but it's touching you? You got to think about this, people. But yet you go to church every day and you talk about God and this, that, and the other, and or whatever, or Allah, and it's like you pray 5 times a day, but you're still stressed out. You're still not doing what you. So that's like, to me, at some point you have to take responsibility. Is what I'm saying. You have to go on and allow yourself to take full responsibility of what you do or do not do, but then deliver fully to yourself, and hold yourself accountable. You do it every day you go to work that you don't like. Every time you wake up early to go to get there on time, sit there for 8, 9, 10 hours. They say stay later, you stay later, and hope that your bonus is going to be nice if you are in that position. If you're not a bonus level person, you're hoping that you could just sustain your 80K a year position, 90K a year position, or your 70K a year position. If you're you're still in the hope phase, you might as well go on and just hope and bet on yourself. All right. So I wanted to bring this conversation because me and my mentor, like I said, we talked about it. I thought it was a very unique perspective that needs to be brought out more and needs to be discussed. I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts on this. And if you notice, I'm not saying anymore, like, subscribe. If you like, cool. If you don't, cool, whatever. Like, I get it. Everybody ain't for everybody. But those of you who do, comment. Please do that. Comment, because I want to talk to you about it. I want to get your perspective. This is what I'm talking about with my community, my close counterparts, my mentors, people I know. But again, we don't have it all figured out. But I want to have good, deep, introspective, esoteric conversations, high level thought conversations. I want to talk to people who are out there who may not be on the mainstream or be known. That's fine, because it's us who are going to have to deal with the AI, who have to deal with the shift in economies, the shift in, no middle class, just poor and wealthy, right? We have to deal with this, you and I. Let's start talking now together and supporting one another. So hopefully we're on the, I guess, winning in, or the end that will allow the level that will allow for sustainability for ourselves. And we can also help and put things in place so it's not that many who lack, right? There's always going to be those who have and have not. That's always going to be that. That's just life. This is, night and day, good, evil. That's life. But I would still prefer to be on the side of the winners that are able to help those who need the help and are going to leverage that help. There's some people who just won't ever leverage it, right? But I need community. I need people. I need you to talk to me. I need to talk to you so we can figure this out together. Okay. Let me know what you think about what I talked about. I hope it made sense. I know it's a little out there, but shit, we all out there right now trying to figure it out. So we might as well have a conversation that will allow us to tap into something new and then move on that new thing to help us grow. Doc will be back shortly. He has some good news about what he's doing with his brewery. Things are moving with that. That's why he's been gone the last couple episodes. He's been having to put 10 toes and focus really on that, because he's at his inception of really building that, and the foundation pieces, the blocks have to line up in order for it to be solid for him to catapult himself at some point. So be aware, he is coming back. He's not going anywhere. Okay. But I appreciate you guys. Have a great week. Stay positive, stay moving positive, do the mundane, seemingly benign things that need to get done in order for the positivity to infuse itself through the energy into the ether, so you can move forward and get to what you want. All right. Look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Thanks for your time. Comment, talk shortly.